What is Medicare? Medicare is a federal funded program through Social Security that gives you health benefits when you turn 65. There are special situations that you qualify for Medicare before you turn 65, like having been disabled for 2 or plus years. There are 2 parts of Medicare. You have Medicare A and B. A is an entitlement if you've worked 10 years full-time or the equivalent of 10 years of work and paid into Social Security. If you haven't, most people have, but if you haven't, Medicare Part A costs $499 a month. So the majority of Americans who have worked, it's a good thing because it can get very expensive. Part B costs $170.10 a month, and that is something that the majority of Americans will have to pay. There is a sliding scale. It can go up to $550. It's based off your income. If you're married and make under $176,000 a year, it'll be $170.10, and then it's a sliding scale up depending on how much you make. If you're making over $750,000 a year, it could be $550. Who is eligible for Medicare? You have to be 65 and up or disabled for at least 2 years, and a U.S. citizen for at least the 5 past consecutive years. You are eligible for Medicare in a 7-month enrollment period. It's 3 months before your birthday month. So if your birthday is April 15th, that entire month you're eligible on the 1st of April, 3 months prior your birthday month, and then 3 months after. It's a 7-month enrollment period. A question I get often is, do I have to enroll in Medicare when I turn 65? And they do a lot of penalties that you hear about on the radio, on TV, that scare you into thinking that Medicare is absolutely mandatory when you turn 65. There are penalties, and they are permanent on your Part B and your Part D, but if you're currently employed and you have group health care insurance, you don't have to take Medicare when you turn 65. You can keep your group health care plan. If it's a qualified plan, you don't have to take Medicare. If you are not insured or you're insured in the open market or you're retired, you do need to take Medicare when you turn 65 to avoid the penalties. If you have group health care insurance, you don't have to take original Medicare. Now the government, Social Security, has a guilty until proven innocent policy. So what you're going to do is when it's time to retire, and if that credible coverage that you had through your employer, you'll ask your HR department for a letter of credible coverage. Now we're going to need to supply this to B, Social Security for Part B, and for Part D, because there's going to be penalties on both parts, and then your new insurance company will likely request it too. So you'll need to make 3 copies of it, but just know once you provide these letters of credible coverage, when you lose your group health care, there will be no fees for joining Medicare late. How do you apply for Medicare? So original Medicare, to apply, it's a manual process if you're not drawing Social Security. The maximum benefits for Social Security today is around 66.5 for people born in 1957. That's going to be moving back slowly. It'll be 67 soon for people born in 1958, and each year it's moving back. So a lot of people who are 65 are not drawing Social Security. In that case, it is a manual process. You need to go to ssa.gov. If you haven't created a Social Security profile, you should. If you have, log in, and at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's an Apply for Medicare button. You'll click that and go through a series of questions. These questions can be a little confusing, and I've seen a lot of people make mistakes on them. One of the things I recommend doing is pretend when you're answering the questions that it is your birth date already. And if you are not going to have other insurance, once you're on Medicare, you need to answer the questions like it's your birthday and you don't have other insurance. Because the questions will be, do you currently have other insurance? Do you currently have other prescription plans? This is going to give a red flag and make you answer a series of questions that actually aren't relevant to you, unless in fact you do have other insurance and other prescription drug plans. So when you go through this process and apply for Medicare, it takes about, they say, a week for you to get a letter of confirmation and an additional week and a half before you actually receive your Medicare card in the mail. You cannot do this until the beginning of your open enrollment period, which would be the first date 3 months prior to you turning 65. If you are on Social Security, you don't have to do anything. The government is going to automatically put you in Medicare and automatically start taking your Part B premium out of your Social Security check. So that's something else that you need to be aware of. That $170.10 is going to come out automatically with or without your permission, because the government deems Medicare to be pretty much mandatory. I understand Medicare is complicated, and I'm here to help walk you through this process and make it as simple as I possibly can and help you understand it. I do want to tell you again, there's no charge to you to work or hire a broker like me to work for you. I'm looking to build a relationship. This isn't a one-sale business. This is you working with a broker the rest of your life, and that's the relationship that we're trying to build. Feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to set up a meeting, talk to you, and answer any additional questions you may have.